Welcome to the show. I am your host, Don Toole, and this is March Madness edition of the show. And the brackets were announced yesterday, as we all know. And probably kind of wondering, well, who's going to win the entire March Madness? And right now, it's kind of hard to say. My bracket right here is all filled out. And looking at the bracket, there are a lot of teams who I picked to go forward. And it pretty went straightforward. Looking at it right now, as far as the first round matches are concerned, the hardest game for me to pick so far was the Villanova game, and all for two reasons. Obviously, I didn't think Villanova deserved a 9 seed. Obviously, the committee gave them a 9 seed. And these 9 and 8 games are very hard to pick because these two teams are very good. George Mason is obviously a very good team to go against Villanova. I believe if Corey Fisher and Corey Stokes can be healthy, Villanova does have a great chance of winning this game. However, if those two do not play to the par, then they have a very tough task of winning this game. Upsets. I really don't have too many upsets in the first round. I do see this going pretty much straightforward. Let's see here. Notable names I see going down early. I see San Diego State going down early, only because I haven't heard much from this San Diego State team. For them to get a 2 seed based off their record, yes, but they played in a very, very weak conference, and for them to go 35-2, I believe was a good for them, but I don't think they deserved the 2nd seed from playing in a weak conference. So I actually see them going out in the 2nd round, but we'll save that for later, and as the tournament goes on, I will announce the rest of the picks. But early on, that's who I see how it's going to go so far. I do see USC winning in the game to get in this upcoming Tuesday. I do see them going and playing a very tough Ohio State team. So we'll see how that goes and that turns out. All right. This past week, the NFL has set a primary hearing for April 6th to a lockout injunction hearing. And this is a lawsuit filed by the players of the NFLPA. And this case has bounced around through several people in the NFL. And one good thing about this, if you're hoping for football next season, you need the injunction to be granted. Because if the injunction is granted on April 6th, there will be an NFL season, but without a salary cap. And the same player restrictions will be used in 2010, which, trades and such of all that will all take place. Now, moving forward, the NFL has a lot of work to do. Obviously, this injunction stopped the NFL from going into a lockout. Obviously, it played a huge part in the NFL not going into this lockout. Would there still be a lockout? Possibly. I do see, if this injunction is not granted, they're gonna lock out. And will there be football next season? At this point, I would say no. And apparently today, the sources from ESPN have said that the owners do have enough money to cover themselves for the 2011 season if there's a lockout. Where are they going to get this money from? I have no clue. But it's going to be interesting to see where do they get this money from. And it's going to be a rough period of time for people who love football. Trades can't happen, obviously, during the draft. There's a lot of draft day trades that usually happen. If this injunction is not passed, then those draft day trades can't happen. That's simple and point. All right, moving on. The NFLPA, Players Association, and some incoming rookies plan to boycott the draft. Yes, boycott the draft. They are not going to show up during the draft at all, especially the first-round players, 15 to 20 players who get invited to the draft are planning not to show up. This has huge implications for the NFL because, as we all know, these highly touted draft picks always are a staple at the draft. And for them not to be there puts a very huge stamp on the NFL. There are some reports out there that usually, as we all know, once the players get drafted, they go and talk on the NFL Network. Well, sources say that these players, if they do come to the draft, they won't talk to the NFL Network. They'll talk to other networks, probably ESPN, some other local networks they'll talk to, but they're not going to talk to the NFL Network. That's the plan for that right there. All right. As we go on, we're going to take a look into some Widener sports. Widener baseball had a very great weekend. They basically won. They went 4-1 this past weekend, which is very good for the team. They're 10-4, and they are in position to win another MAC title. Now, the only thing stopping this team right now from being ranked in the top 25 is some terrible losses that they had this past weekend. And, like I said, it's early in the season. This baseball team, is playing extremely well. They won 15-0 and 10-0 Saturday in their doubleheader. And when you can do that consistently against teams, you're going to get your voice out there. And I obviously think that the Widener baseball team has a very great shot in winning the MAC championship again and going further into the NCAA tournament, farther than they did last year. This team looks like they're going to be great, and there's going to be a lot of things to come. All right, now as we go into, we're going to my 2 cents right now, and I want to take the time right now to talk about some snubs that got left out of the NCAA tournament. Everyone is talking about how Virginia Tech and Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, was left out of this year's tournament. And I will say this to the committee, I believe they do a great job. But the fact that there are 4 teams who have 14 losses, including Penn State, that are in the tournament and didn't get in, it's kind of alarming to see these teams get in. One coach for Virginia Tech came out and said that, it's sad to say that, but politics may be involved. And, you don't want to start to look at the possibility of politics being involved in deciding who's in and who's out of the tournament. But at a certain point, you have to start thinking that. Judging the fact that there are 4 teams who have 14 losses that are in the March Madness, and you have 2 great teams who don't even have, above 10 losses out of the tournament, that is something to think about. And that is something that I'm telling you need to think about and really, really look hard on, because this could happen in many, many other years. All right, that will do it for this edition of 2 Cents. I am formerly known as Coach Don Toole. I would like to thank everybody for joining the show, and check out my Twitter account, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you.